Sup fans, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another physical media review, a retro physical media review. And today, well, I've already covered this a couple of times back then when it came out, but I would like to do a one last look. We're gonna take a quick one last look at the amazing, yes, I would say amazing, despite you know later on during the video my criticisms, the amazing Godzilla The Showa-Era Films from the Criterion Collection coming up right now, and I hope you guys enjoy the show. All right, guys, quiet on set. Scene one, take one. Action. Boom. Now, if you guys like this video, make sure you guys leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you share with your friends and also hit that bell for notifications because, well, it does help the channel out. And if you're new here, welcome, sit down, relax, and enjoy the show. Now, like I said earlier in the video, I've already covered this behemoth already, like in about I think a video or two, or no, just one video. So I've already did like a quick, like a nice, more in-depth showcase and an in-depth review. So I'll just leave a little card for you guys to click on about that. So this is more of a quicker, more like final thoughts, looking back at this box set. But then again, you know what? Yeah, you know, time has passed and I really do, my opinions have changed a bit, but still in a way remain the same. So before we get on to the actual review, me talking about in depth about the picture, audio, and special features, let's just take a quick look at this box. Well, the book. Beautiful cover artwork. We got the spine here. Spine number 1000. My camera can't focus. Yeah, yeah, spine number 1000, guys. So this is a big deal, especially for us G fans. And I think this is more way for me, a more practical and more fun way for me to showcase it off for you guys. Because if I did it in my coffee table, like I did like my first review, I don't know, it was a little uncomfortable. Just open up the page here. Got some amazing artwork. We got an essay by the wonderful Steve Rifle. This is page 1. Freaking nice. We have the list of all the films here. Here we have more of this essay. Really freaking nice. And here we begin with not only some technical specs and casting, we also get mini essays for each of the film by, of course, Steve Rifle. So we have Godzilla, aka Gojira. This book is so big, I'm trying to look at the freaking my camera screen so I make sure everything's in frame, but oh well. Neither was my original showcasing perfect, you know? Each by individual artists, so I'll look at the fan-made cases there so I can, so hopefully so I can like list everybody that did this amazing artwork. I've heard that this guy is an amazing comic book artist who did this for King Kong vs. Godzilla. Here we got Mothra versus Godzilla. I apologize if if I don't, you know, frame it right. And hopefully I'm not skipping everything here. Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. I love this artwork. I think this came out during King of the Monsters, and it's like they use a lot of totem artwork for that movie, so that is so cool. Yeah, I already showcased in my original review, but you know what? Why not just showcase it again, you know? It is, I love this artwork. I know that, I understand, but then again, I understand why it's not everybody's cup of tea, you know, just the whole different artwork or just some of the artwork. Like, I understand, especially when we get to Hedorah. I love the art for Hedorah, but it's like, you know, you could clearly tell that, I don't know, that they actually watched the movie. So here we got one of my favorites, Destroy All Monsters. But my favorite is, of course, Godzilla, King Kong vs. Godzilla, Ghidorah, Raids Again, well, then again, Mothra, of course, you could see that was a Millennium, like at least around the Millennium era Godzilla. More so like Tokyo SOS Godzilla or Kiryu Godzilla. And here's Hedorah. I love the artwork, but you could kind of tell that, I mean, they kind of fight in the city a bit, but not in the city, you know? Yeah, they make it look like they fought in Tokyo, and they never did. This manga style for Gigan is amazing. I love this artwork. I still love this artwork, though. Megalon. That one's really cool, man. I do love this comic book star artwork. I just love how diverse the artwork is though here, because the Showa era was very diverse in tone and filmmaking styles and everything. So I think it fits. We got the last one here. We got Terror of Mechagodzilla. And here we got about the transfer here, which I will read later. And here we got the last page here. And it's already warped here. Here's where I would keep the disc. You would keep the disc, and yep. Criticism already here is that I used to love this, but ever since the glue was falling off and all this stuff, yeah, no, I hate this. So yeah, not even something to an extra thing to pull out. You have to legit dig your fingernails just to pull them out. And that's it. That is that. So, and also when the glue died off and actually I had to save my disc, I went on eBay and I got some fan-made cases. Excellent, excellent, excellent here. And here's all the discs look like. Each and every one. So we got some two double features, triple features, films, 3 films on one disc, 2 films on one, 2 to 3 films on a disc. And you get the supplements, the bonus features. So yep. Alrighty then, guys, now we can quickly talk about picture and audio quality here. So I'll try to quickly, actually, instead of going movie by movie, I'm just gonna talk about mostly lumping them in kind of together and all that stuff. So now before I get onto the transfers here. So that's a lot here. So yeah, all right. So here we go. Godzilla and Godzilla Raids Again are presented in the original aspect ratio 137:1, and Godzilla King of the Monsters is presented in the aspect ratio of 137:1. On widescreen televisions, black bars will appear on the left and right of the image to maintain the proper screen format. The high-definition digital transfer of Godzilla was created on a Spirit Datacine film scanner from a 35mm fine-grained master positive struck from the original camera negative, which is kind of false now that we know about it, which no longer exists. The high-definition digital transfer of Godzilla Raids Again was created from a 35mm print. The high-definition digital transfer of Godzilla King of the Monsters was created from a 35mm fine-grained master positive from a 16mm duplicate negative. For Godzilla and Godzilla King of the Monsters, thousands of instances of dirt, debris, scratches, splices, and warps were manually removed using MTI Films DERS, while Digital Vision's Phoenix was used for jitter, flicker, small dirt, grain, and noise management. The US release version of King Kong vs. Godzilla and the original Japanese release versions of Mothra vs. Godzilla, Ghidorah 3-Headed Monster, Invasion of Astro Monsters, Abe Over the Deep, Son of Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters, All Monsters Attack, Godzilla vs. Hedorah, Godzilla vs. Gigan, Godzilla vs. Megalon, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, and Terror Mechagodzilla are presented in the original aspect ratio of 235:1. Black bars at the top and bottom of the screen are normal for this format. The high-definition digital transfer of the US release version of King Kong vs. Godzilla was made from a 35mm inner positive, and the other 12 high-definition transfers were created from 35mm prints, which, we'll get to that, actually what really it is about. The original monaural soundtrack for Godzilla was remastered at 24-bit from the fine-grained optical track, while the original monaural soundtrack for Godzilla King of the Monsters was remastered at 24-bit from the 35mm, I think 24-bit for both, from the 35mm fine-grained master positives variable density track using Avid's Pro Tools and Isotope RX. The original monaural soundtrack of the US release version of King Kong vs. Godzilla was provided by a 35mm DME magnetic transfer. The sources for the original monaural soundtracks for all of them, but I just said the rest of the films were 35mm prints. So yeah, well, here's some truth to that. So basically, the best transfer, of course, is Godzilla and Godzilla King of the Monsters, and also King Kong vs. Godzilla. You can really tell that they are from true 35mm film print masters, while the other ones are actually done by 2008 from Toho and Toho Pure High Vision Telecine Masters. So I'll get to those in a few minutes. So with the 2K, and I think maybe even Raids Again too is part of either High Vision or was actually a 35mm film print. Well, yeah. So going back to the Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla and Godzilla King of the Monsters, that was done, but that was Criterion's own 2K restoration from the fine grain film positive that they said it was struck from the 35mm camera negative, which is no longer available. But what actually is that it's a 3rd generation master. So actually that's basically not true. But then again, it's not Criterion's fault. That was until Toho found out from the master they supplied to them years ago. So it's actually a copy from one of the dupe negatives that was, I believe, struck from 1973 or 1975. So, but when Toho did their own 4K masters, actually it was struck from those 2 duplicates, and a bit of like missing frames and footage was from that same fine grade positive. So it's like a copy of a copy of a copy, which is the original copy of the inner positive from the original camera negative. That's nitrate film, and again, that no longer exists, and I believe even the inner positive does not exist anymore. So the best possible sources are, of course, the 75 and 73 dupe negatives that were struck from the inner positive. I'm trying to make sense here, so that's what I'm trying to understand. And of course the 35mm film fine grain positive, which is struck from either of the 2, if not both of those masters. So yeah, so but then again, yeah, so that's very generational behind. So it's many generations behind when it comes to the quality. So but still, this movie looks sharp, very crystal clear in many areas. There's a lot, of course, like scratches and debris that they couldn't remove because that's how the positive is. But other than that, it looks amazing. The presentation, it is amazing. I still say that presentation holds up very well. Same thing goes with Kingdom Monsters. Even though they haven't done a 4K restoration of that, especially for the 4K release, it still looks amazing. It is the best way to enjoy the Kingdom Monsters. So that is really cool. And King Kong vs. Godzilla, it is basically the universal version, universal release from the Blu-ray that was also on DVD too. So that looks cool. The colors are great, clarity is good, but then again, yeah, this is it's pretty outdated because it does a lot of print damage here, but not as bad as, of course, the King Kong vs. Godzilla Japanese version, which was, yeah, a poorly preserved film. Luckily, thank goodness, the 4K master is a million 3,000 times better than that transfer. But yeah, I think it is the worst looking one because it uses, of course, laserdiscs that don't mesh well, poopy looking color corrections and all that stuff. I mean, then again, it's better than the piss yellow tints that it had on the DVD in Japan, but it did look like somebody wiped their ass with the film, transfer, especially near the final fight in Mount Fuji. Yeah, it's extremely inconsistent, but then again, that's because it was like, actually, I'm gonna get to that right now. With Raids Again and onwards, it's like back in the day, Toho had like the Toho Champion festivals, and well, instead of getting a film copy and cutting it out, because they would cut out a lot of the, they're just shortened versions, like an hour-long shortened version of these 1.5 to 2 hour films. They were shortening them down for kids to enjoy. So basically, you just seen the kaiju scenes, but unfortunately, back then, for the first few Godzilla films, like I think up until Ghidorah or Destroy All Monsters, I believe, they legit, instead of cutting from a film print, they cut the original negative. So all those trims are either discarded or lost. And over time, Toho had to find other best source elements to splice them back together. And that's what they kind of did with the Toho High Vision. But unfortunately, with the rest of the transfers here, the Toho High Vision Masters, they did it on it's a telecine videotape and HD tape. So it's basically 1080i, not 1080p. So when if you're trying to watch it in HD, you have to de-interlace it from progressive scanning to interlace to progressive scan. So it's sub HD. So we're not really seeing a full true HD version of the film from these telecine masters, because all those telecine masters were finished in 2008, and that's what Criterion was handed for. So like Mothra vs. Godzilla, even King Kong vs. Godzilla, Terror Mechagodzilla, every single one, Hedorah, every movie onwards, that is part of those soft looking telecine masters, which telecine is very limited compared to an actual raw film. I would call a raw film restoration, where when you get a raw film restoration, you get a big file, you can do whatever you want with it. You can really like fix the colors and balance the grain and all that stuff, grain management properly, and not the automated process. But with the telecine, you get this JPEG image, and you're just so limited. Like the colors, you could barely make with the colors, and really it mushes the grain, and it really softens the image. And I gotta give kudos to Criterion with these masters though. They did their best. I'm glad that Toho allowed them to like color correct some of these films, but unfortunately the telecine masters, they do like hold Criterion back. They really shows the limits that they can do. I mean, Mothra Godzilla color wise, it looks fantastic compared to the Toho Blu-ray. But I'd say they're a lot of these masters are they're the best these telecine masters look. They're the best we've ever seen them in. And they also did it with the Heisei Millennium Era. So yeah, that's why they look like, some sections look like it's VHS quality on a Blu-ray. Case in point with Final Wars. When I watched it on my blown up on my 4K TV, and even on a Blu-ray, on a standard HD screen, it looks very like, why am I seeing a videotape rather than like a VHS tape rather than like a film, an HD? So yeah, that causes a lot of problems, and you know, many YouTubers already covered this topic, and like Godzilla YouTubers covered this, and yeah, it shows its limits. But at the end of the day, it's kind of charming too. It does hide the wires a bit and all that stuff, but then again, I love seeing those wires, and they still look pretty good. They look clean and consistent. Grain is present there, which is good, but yeah, the colors are not so good, and it's very soft at the end of the day. But then again, I don't think they're really that bad at the end, really, in all honesty, because they're just okay. They're watchable, and it's kind of fun looking at this nice style of filmmaking, how it's soft looking, and it kind of does bring you back to those VHS days when you would watch these movies as kids and all that stuff. Well, I mean, I'm not that old to like experience like Showa-Era Godzilla films on like a VHS tape, but yeah, but then again, I would rent those like Scimitar VHS as a kid, so it kind of brings this nice nostalgic feel to it. But at the end of the day, yeah, but if you want like a super razor sharp high quality of these films, yeah, this is unfortunately, this is what the Criterion had to work with. And from what I've heard, Criterion, like, they wanted to do mostly new scans of the American versions, but Toho said no. That's as far as we know. That's 100% confirmed for that. So missing is a lot of the English dubs, and that is, you know what? I think that is a shame, because even though I prefer watching these films in Japanese with English subtitles, I think that we deserve to have these options, and I feel like we should have them preserved just for preservation's sake, because they are part of film history, really. I mean, we have King of the Monsters and King vs. Godzilla, yes, but we want these American versions preserved, because like without those Showa-Era Americanized versions, you know, Godzilla wouldn't be as popular in the United States, you know, to this very day. I mean, it's popular. The original was popular, but that was an English version from the Japanese version. So, hope I'm making sense here. But yeah, no. But yeah, it'll be great if we had both, if we had those options. But you know, unfortunately, especially with Toho getting very strict these days, yeah, Criterion had their limits here. So yeah, those limits kind of hold this box set back to being perfection. But then again, overall, I still enjoy these transfers. For the audio, yeah, I gotta say, so of course, every single one of these movies, I gotta say, the audio makes up for it, because the audio sounds crystal clear, it's bombastic, and LFE levels are pretty good, even though there's no like 0.1 channels on these, like but I have a Dolby Atmos system that matrix these. It sounds amazing, especially King vs. Godzilla, the Japanese version, because that's a 4.0 quad stereo mix, the original theatrical mix that's intended to be seen, and the matrix and the upmixing sounds bombastic, especially Akira Kufubu's score on that, especially on every single, the music score, the dialogue, the Godzilla's roars, the special effects, the sound effects, they sound amazing. So yeah, no, I got no issues with the audio. They sound amazing. Holy shit, they look good. Even like some of the films with the English dubs, they're presented in lossy Dolby digital format, but they're in high bit quality, so they're the best they can sound. So they sound amazing. And I've heard from Godzilla English dub purists that these are the complete versions, like these are the complete English dub versions, and that is really cool. I didn't know that there were some missing lines of dialogue or missing sound effects in some of the English dubs that are on the Sony DVDs or anything else, from what I've heard. And that is pretty cool. So Criterion gave us the best versions of the English dubs, which is really nice. And Invasion of Amsterdam, I'm glad the English dub is presented, because, you know, Nick Adams' performance is right there, and I'm glad it's being presented there. Which is weird, it's being presented as an English international dub when it's actually the US dub. So you know what? No, we have 3 US dubs in this box set, actually. So hey, that's pretty cool. But you know, Toho's be like, oh, that's kind of ours. But then again, it is technically theirs, you know, because they own the film. But overall, guys, the audio tracks are perfection, especially for Godzilla and Godzilla King of the Monsters, man. They all sound amazing. But then again, also King vs. Godzilla is damn a good showcase. Special features, ooh boy, let me tell you guys this. So yeah, also before I read the special features here, so I gotta read the description here, because I throw away the card and all that stuff. But yeah, because I'm not the one to keep cards. So yeah, let me just read the description of the box set. In 1954, an enormous beast clawed its way out of the sea, destroying everything in its path and changing movies forever. The arresting original Godzilla soon gave rise to an entire monster movie genre. kaiju eiga. But the King of the Monsters continued to reign supreme in 14 fiercely entertaining sequels over the next 2 decades. Godzilla defended its throne against a host of other formidable creatures, transforming from a terrifying symbol of nuclear annihilation into a benevolent, if still belligerent, Earth protector. Collected here for the first time are all 15 Godzilla films of Japan's Showa era, in a landmark set indomitable international appeal that established the most iconic giant monster in the cinema has ever seen. 8 Blu-ray special edition features. I'm leaving that in, guys. I don't care. High definition digital transfers of all 15 Godzilla films made between 1951 and 1975 released together for the first time with uncompressed monaural soundtrack. High definition digital transfer of Godzilla King of the Monsters, the 1956 US release version of Godzilla, and the 1962 Japanese release version of King Kong vs. Godzilla. Audio commentaries by 2011 on Godzilla and Godzilla King of the Monsters featuring film historian David Khaled, which are amazing. International English language dub tracks for, alright, Invasion of Astro Monsters, Son of Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters, Godzilla vs. Megalon, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, and Terra Mechagodzilla. Directors Guild of Japan interview with director Ishiro Honda, conducted by director Yoshimitsu Banno in 1990. I love that interview, man. I love this featurette. Programs detailing the creation of Godzilla special effects and unused effect sequences from Toho releases, including Destroy All Monsters. So that is the documentary that was released. That was actually a documentary that a lot of us Godzilla fans wanted. That was on the Godzilla Final box, as far as I know. And we finally got this, which is freaking amazing, a big win. New interview with filmmaker Alex Cox about his admiration for the Showa-era Godzilla films. New and archival interviews with cast and crew members, including actors Ben Furuya, Sugutoshi Komada, and Haru Nakajima and Akira Takarada, composer Akira Kofube, and special effects technicians Yoshio Idei and Eizo Kamai. Hopefully I didn't butcher their names. Interview with critic Tadao Sato from 2011. Illustrated audio essay from 2011 about the real-life tragedy that inspired Godzilla, which is Lucky Dragon number 5. Trailers and new English subtitle translations. So overall, guys, this is a damn good loaded set of course, the first disc has everything from 2011, which is features around, I believe, 2 to 3 hours, and with that, it's kind of with the added bonus features that was on the supplements disc, you get it's almost a total of 6 to 7 hours, which is amazing. But like I said before, the English dubs are missing. A lot of them are missing, which some don't make sense, like Ebira, Hedera, and Gigan. For some reason, their international English dubs are missing, which, then again, they might have been last minute additions. Because I know that Criterion were waiting for the rights to expire from Kraken, who had the rights back then, to expire. And I'm pretty sure Toho, I don't know, they also got to prove their own dubs. I don't know, that don't make sense. But maybe it was an error that they never fixed. Hopefully they'll fix it on a future 4K release. But overall, the bonus features are plentiful. The Alex Cox interview was short, really cool. And you also get an interview for the actor that played Jet Jaguar. He is amazing here, man. And of course, the 2011 legacy special features from the original 2011 release from Criterion for Godzilla. They're amazing, man. You get everything you need to know to learn about this film, the most in-depth ever. And while not perfect though, guys, I wish they could have had that documentary bringing Godzilla down to size that was on the Rodan DVD from Classic Media, which I've heard Steve Rifle tried to fight to get it on there, but couldn't get it on there. Hopefully in a future release from Criterion, because I would love to present that documentary. It's a damn good documentary. But yeah, no, I still love it. Despite my criticisms, I love the special features, man. I really think that this is very comprehensive, and hopefully, when Criterion is apparently they're gonna try to release them individually this time instead of doing a 4K version of the box set. Hopefully they can add more bonus features. And of course, everything that was on the bonus disc that was on here, they better at least include those on dedicated the movies, with Yoshimitsu Banno and Ishiro Honda interview. They should put that on the headrest disc, because that's Yoshimitsu Banno's baby right there. And interview with Jet Jaguar, Megalon, and so on and so forth. And for the special effects documentary that I mentioned, Destroy All Monsters. So that is really cool, guys. No, the bonus features on this set, it is phenomenal, man. So yeah, plenty of people mention it, but I want to just say its final praises. It is amazing. And before I wrap it up here, I want to also give credit to the illustrations, the artists here. So here we got, for all the illustrations, so we got Bill Skiewicz, Katsuya Terada, Arthur Adams, Angela Riza, Mona Robot, Benjamin Mara, Simon Gain, Robert Gooden, Sophie Campbell, Jorge Coelho, Jeff Darrow, Becky Cloonan, Ronald Wimberly, Takashi Okazaki, Chris Wisnia, and for whoever did the cover, the surrounding artwork here, it is Yuko Shimizu. There's a bonus feature on YouTube, guys. I highly check it out. That when she did this artwork, it is amazing, man. So yeah, and also this texture is very skin-like, which is really nice. So yeah, not much I can say here. So yeah, so overall, my verdict, looking back at this set, despite my issues with it, honestly, I would say, if I was a fan, I would still say it is a must-own, especially if you're a Godzilla fan. But honestly, here, as a critic, more like a critical wise, I would say wait for a price drop or a sale, because, you know, this still goes for around $100+, and, you know, it's not I'm pretty sure not everybody wants to pay $100+ for like a giant book that, you know, I understand that you gotta like display it like a coffee table and, you know, on top of your shelf, but I still highly recommend this set, guys. Really, I freaking do. So yeah, despite my issues with it. But you know what, before I wrap it up here, you know what, even though I'd rather have them release each and every film, even the Heisei Millennium Era, individually, because of course Biollante and Godzilla, man, I prefer them also because they're more organized and I can pull them out of the shelf. And also, we don't have to deal with this bullshit again. All I gotta say is that, you know what, this credit goes out to Max. If you're watching Max in the UK, damn, she had a great idea. So basically she said, yeah, like they could, so instead of like, they could re-release it as a book like this, but instead of like sleeves, we just have plastic trays for them, or disc trays for them. And right away, yep, I agree, man, I agree. So no, yeah, but we'll see. I really hope that, you know, I just hope that, you know, we just get those US versions, you know, back soon and all that stuff. So yeah, but once again, yeah, despite my criticisms for it, I still love this set. It's actually still one of my favorite sets of all time, because not just because I'm a Godzilla fan, but because this is the first time ever that the Showa era has been presented together. I never thought it would happen, but look at that, it happened, you know. So this is a monumental milestone when this came out. This is a revelation. So yeah, not much I can say. Despite my issues with this box set, you know, guys, this is an amazing set. And you know what, if you guys just, you know, planning to get, I say just if you're gonna plan to get this, especially when it's on sale, because this also goes on sale a lot of times, try to get some fan-made case, or at least get some, you know, plastic cases to preserve your disc, so that, you know, before the glue dies off, because the glue adhesive is just bad here, man. But then again, at first I thought this was a cool design, and I'm like, oh, I don't understand why people hate booklets. Now I get it because of this. And looking back at this now, yeah, this is a horrible design. You know what, if I legit had anything bad, like legitimately bad to any like strong criticism, negativity towards this release, is just this. Away with this packaging, man. We gotta say goodbye to this packaging, man, because this is awful. But I still love this, you know. And then again, I also think the set is too big, really. Yeah, they're gonna re-release the booklet with plastic trays or disc trays. It's gonna be a little chunky, but you know what, I don't care. And it'll be a little heavier, but I don't care if it'll feel like a monster size release. So yeah. So that was my retro review of Godzilla The Showa-Era Films from 1954 to 1975. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thank you guys so much for watching my video. So let me know down in the comment section down below, do you guys have this release? What you guys think of it? I would love to know. Please let me know down in the comment section down below. I would love to hear your opinions on it. So this is Javi from JAVIWOOD Productions signing off, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show.